painty time. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Thank you for clicking on this one. And by the way, I have to say a huge thank you for 50,000 subscribers. It has been a long time coming, a lot of hard work, and there's been a lot of you that have come about recently. For those of you that aren't familiar with who I am Bradley, or Brad. I get called both. Either one is fine. And the majority of what I do here on this channel is hunting and fishing and other outdoor related activities. In today's particular episode, we are down at the Real McCoy Ranch doing some hunting. This was the same weekend from the previous video that you guys just saw from the axis deer hunt. I'm just kind of falling a little bit behind on some editing. But after my buddy Trey was able to get his axis, I decided it was time to chase my ibex. This particular ibex happens to be a cross. I've never seen another one. I've never heard anybody talk about an ibex crossed like this one. And he is super, super cool. And he also proved to be a real challenge to hunt. He wouldn't come out near the blinds, and he pretty much wouldn't leave one particular area of the ranch where he always hung out at. Why, I don't know, but he was just a loner by himself, and that's what he was doing. So it just so happened that the little area that he liked to hang out near was next to a sendero, and then there was a creek that ran probably 20 yards next to it, almost the same distance apart. You got the road here, you got the creek, and they're running almost parallel to each other. In some areas you've got, about 30 to 50 yards of space in between the road and the creek, and then on the other side of the creek in one particular area of the ranch, there's kind of a wide open flat. I'm telling you guys all this to kind of give a little bit of background as to what's going on here. So we were cruising around one evening and we spotted the ibex. So me and Dylan decided to jump off the side-by-side off the buggy, and he filmed for me, which was a huge help. I couldn't have done it without him. And I grabbed my bow, and the stalk was on. We spotted him in the sendero. He was out feeding. We were probably a good 300 yards from him. I mean, we were a pretty long ways. I could just barely see white in the brush, or on the edge of the brush. And I looked through with my binoculars, and sure enough, it was him. So we bailed out, and we immediately, or almost immediately, hit the brush on the opposite side of him, or on the opposite side of the road, rather. And we stayed in the brush for as long as we could, and then it got too thick. So after we trailed our way through the brush and realized that we couldn't go anymore very quietly, I went back out to the edge of the sendero from the creek bank and tried to peek out around just to see if I could see him. Well, he was nowhere to be found. Well, he must have heard us. And I didn't realize how much ground we had covered in such a short amount of time, but we actually got within about 100 yards of him or so, but we were we were stepping on leaves and everything else. It's really hard to be quiet on the bank of that creek bottom that runs through the ranch. And so we didn't really know which direction they headed. We didn't know what we were going to do. So what we decided was that we were going to use the creek bottom to our advantage. Now, we hardly ever spot and stalk at the Real McCoy just because it's so thick and it's such a difficult thing to do. However, this time worked out for us very, very well. So we got back down into the creek bottom, and the nice thing about this creek bottom there is that in some areas the banks are actually up over your head, 7 or 8 foot tall, so you can literally get down in the creek bed as long as it's dry, and either hunker down and wait to see if you hear or see something crossing or whatever. But we hunkered down for a minute, put a game plan together, and we're like, there's a chance that he left the sendero across the creek, and we never saw him because the creek has a lot of twists and turns and stuff like that, and it curves. So we figured maybe he crossed the creek and we didn't see him because of one of the bends, and then he popped up in the open field, or open-ish field, on the other side of the creek. Sure enough, he had popped up out there, and whenever we finally got eyes on him, we were hunkered down on the bank, just kind of like peeking over the top, and there he was walking away. Didn't know that we were there, wasn't alarmed, so I'm like, maybe we can get a chance at him. Well, the wind was not in our favor at all. So he ended up he stopped for a second, caught our wind, and then kept walking. For whatever reason, he didn't just take off hauling butt, but he just caught our wind for a second and then kept walking. But he kind of picked up his pace a little bit and moved on a little bit faster, and then he started to make a circle around behind us. And so all we did was held tight just to see what he was going to do, see if he was going to make a full circle and come back to feed where he was just at. Unfortunately, we lost him once again, so much so that we literally just sat down and tried to be as quiet as we possibly could and listened, hoping that we could hear him, hoping that we could see him. Like I said, it's so thick. It's your typical South Texas brush. Not in this particular area so much where we're hunting. There is some black brush and some mesquites and wahee and stuff like that. Lots of cactus, obviously. But where we were at in this area was some oak trees and stuff like that. It was a little bit more open. There wasn't as much underbrush, is what I should be saying. And so we caught a glimpse of him again, and we bailed off back down into the creek bottom and started heading towards him, because we figured, okay, if he's just basically making a big circle, he's got to cross this creek bottom again, and he's going to go back and around and maybe go back to feed him. Who knows? We start heading down the creek, and we had gone probably 50 or 60 yards, and it was very dry and very dusty. We were able to be quiet, but there was a pool of some pretty nasty looking stagnant water, and so we had to kind of come up off the creek bank, and I had to also look to see where the ibex was at, and I peeked up over the top, and sure enough, there he was. So we got in position, and I tried stopping him, and he wouldn't stop. And I don't know why. I don't know if he couldn't hear me. Surely you would think that he had to hear me, but I think I whistled at him or just gave him the typical meh, and nothing was working. So I'm like, okay, and he's just passing us by. And still the whole time, like at this point, we'd kind of come up out of the creek bottom, and I kept a tree in between me and him, and Dylan stayed directly behind me, of course, for the most part. He didn't see us, and he didn't nothing. And finally, he stopped, and I think he looked at us. And when he did, I drew back, and I'll let the story tell itself from here. If I remember correctly, Dylan was running my rangefinder for me, and he took off and kept walking, and Dylan ranged him at 48 yards or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but I led him by what I thought was going to be plenty. However, it didn't work out for me as well as I was hoping it for. I typically don't shoot at a moving target, especially with a bow. I will with a rifle all day long, but with a bow and out at 48 yards, okay, it's going to be tough. But we couldn't get him to stop, and we didn't know where he was going, and I had no other choice but to let an arrow fly right there, or just keep running in circles with him and maybe bust him and he takes off and we don't see him anymore. Who knows? But it turned out to be really, really fun. I will say that I wouldn't have taken the shot if I didn't feel confident or comfortable doing it. I have practiced this shot lots of times on hogs, and so I've got a pretty good gauge of how much to lead an animal whenever they're walking at specific distances. And I led this ibex by, I don't know, not quite a foot, but about 8 inches, 10 inches or so, somewhere in there, and let it fly. And just worked out perfectly enough for me, whereas he was walking away, I was able to slip that up, and he was quartering away just enough that it went in at the ribs and came up and caught everything vital that we needed to catch. So it worked out perfect. He ran down into the creek bottom, crossed the creek up on the other side, and fell over right there, and we were able to get it done. These things are beautiful. And guys, if you are looking to come out to the ranch and have hog and an ibex style of hunt, like a goat and a hog style of hunt, or maybe like you want to shoot an axis doe for meat, but you still want to shoot like a little bit more affordable of a trophy, the ibex are there. They're not nearly as expensive as everything else, but they're super cool animals. We've got lots of these things, and we have some that are all different colors, some that are like tri-colored, some that are two-tone, I guess that's the best way that you want to put it, but they have really neat looking horns, and I think that a lot of your sheep and your goats and your ibex included, they're super neat animals. The way their colorations are, their horns, they have the whole beard and like the chaps, almost like an Aoudad, but I don't know, this thing was solid white. He was beautiful. He's gonna make a beautiful mount. Freaking cool. What's your guesses on length?
That's got to be about close to 30.
Think so? Yeah, probably 28, 30. It's a cool.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Probably under 30.
Real McCoy Ranch, once again, if you guys want to come hunt some different animals, we've got quite the variety. These cool looking goats right here, or ibex being one of them.
Yeah, he did.
I know what's wrong with him.
Ain't got no gas.
Ain't got no gas on him.
Springtime is upon us, so if any of you are wanting to do your springtime exotic hunts, let me know. Drop a comment down below, or go to the description of this video and check out my email, my Instagram, my social media is down there and stuff like that. You can shoot me an email. We can get you set up for a hunt at the ranch, and I'll be there to be your guide. So, ton of fun as always at the ranch at the Real McCoy, and I hope that you guys will be joining us there. And the bookings for everything coming up this fall is open, and I want to encourage you guys that want to come down for a whitetail, a low fence free ranging whitetail, 150, 160 class deer. And of course all your exotics as well. We've got openings for this fall. Nothing has been booked yet, but what I was saying is if you do want to get your hunt booked, you may want to do it quick, because whenever the fall gets here or the summertime gets here, things book up very quickly, and before you know it, it's starting all over again. So I don't want you guys to miss out on your opportunities, especially for you whitetail hunters. We've got a awesome whitetail ranch, and so I want you guys that want to be a part of that to be able to take advantage of those whitetail dates and come see us. And also, not in this video, but in the next video, we will be announcing the 50,000 giveaway hog hunt winner. If I don't think I put that sentence together correctly. Anyway, we're going to be doing that announcement very, very soon. It will be actually in my very next video. Not the short, but the next full video is when we'll be announcing that giveaway. And for those of you that haven't entered in, I'll go ahead, since even though we're already at 50,000, I will go ahead and give you guys until that next video post date to go ahead and go down to the description. At the very top of the description, there is a link to a video that you have to go and comment on, and also make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Those two simple things get you entered in to win a hog hunt with me at the Real McCoy. All expenses paid. It's going to be 1 night, 2 days, and it's going to be a blast. And now that all that is said and done, I have to get this video edited. I have to get the truck packed and get on the road, because we are going back to the Real McCoy this weekend to do some more filming and doing some more hunting and just all around hanging out and having a good time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you once again so much for 50,000. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoy these spot and stock style of videos, and especially on the exotics. For the rest of the year, we have 9 months. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 9 months. We have pretty much exactly 9 months to stack on another 50,000. So when we get to 100,000, if we make it before this year is over, I'm giving a hunt away. It's going to be 3 days, 2 nights, all expenses paid, to come to the Real McCoy to shoot an exotic of your choice. So that's super exciting. I'm very, very excited for that. I'm hoping that if you haven't done so already, that you will right now hit the subscribe button and the notification bells. And that's all I've got. I'll see you guys in just a couple days. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all are awesome.